Hey there, this is Nicole from Brand Better, and I just wanted to bring you behind the scenes on a little brand audit that I'm doing for Brand Better. So these are things that I do for clients, but this is something that you can definitely do yourself. Right now, it's October 7th when I'm recording this, and we are just heading into Q4. Or Q4 is definitely getting underway. And so Q4 is a big time for most business owners because we've got kind of two things going on at once. Like, one is just thinking about moving into like Black Friday and holiday season, whether you're B2C, if you're B2C, then you're thinking about, Black Friday sales and how to maximize this end of the year. If you're B2B, you're thinking about, what are business owners thinking about for this quarter and what are they thinking about for moving into 2025. So when I'm here, and I'm thinking about, just Q4 itself. A lot of business owners need to spend money at the end of the year. So, what are they thinking about spending money on? And then also moving into 2025, this is a great time to be really thinking about how you want to set up next year. So, as I'm thinking about in our own company, like what do we want to do? What are our goals for 2025? I like to sit down and I like to do, before I go into like, it's easy to just like go and run right into like, okay, here are all the tasks that I have to do, right? I need to start posting more on social media. I need to do this, I need to do that. Before you go and run straight into like the to-do list that you think you have to do, I like to pause and have, this doesn't take very long. In fact, I'm just going to do it with you here on this video. But it doesn't take very long to just kind of zoom out. It's more rare that we zoom out. I know for myself too, like that we zoom out and take more of a bird's eye view of our business. So I want to show you when I'm auditing my own brand, what are the things that I'm looking for. I'm going to work off of this brand. I always mess that up. I named this thing and I always call it the Brand Planner, but it is the Brand Planner Toolkit. I've used this for years. I'm going to send you guys the link so that you can use this as well. This is a Canva template. So it just kind of gives you the structure. You can fill out the whole thing, but I'm just going to focus on today. There's two sections here. This is the brand planning. So we're going to do a scan of the brand. And then we're going to do this brand scan 2.0. So we're going to do 1.0 and 2.0. And you can do this along with me. Go through section to section. I'm going to talk through my own thoughts about my brand and kind of what's simmering in the background. So just to give you a little bit of context around what the end of the year looks like for me and then into 2025. The end of the year can be a busy time historically because a lot of business owners, we work with functional medicine practitioners and health practitioners. So when we get to the end of the year, a lot of practitioners are looking to lower their tax bill by investing in their business. And so that would be a great time to like hire our team for a new website, a new brand, new copy. So there's kind of a financial side of it as well, where it's just like investing in the business before we get to, December 31st and wants to be like attributed to this tax year. So it's kind of a practical reason why we get more clients at the end of the year. But then it's also Q4 right now is when people start looking ahead and saying like, what do I want to do in 2025? How do I want my brand to look? How do I want my brand to feel? If in order to reach some of the goals, like what do I need to look at? So for us, kind of to be transparent around like where we're at for next year, we actually have a big sponsorship, the biggest that we've ever done. So behind the scenes here at Brand Better, we are going to be sponsoring A4M, which I don't know if you're listening, if you know what that is, but it's a big longevity conference at the end of the year. It's out in Las Vegas, 5,000 participants. We got ourselves a booth and I'm super excited because and nervous, I gotta say, because I've never done any in-person sponsorships. I've done a lot of sponsorships, but it's all been virtual, right? So like teaching a webinar, doing like virtual sales calls kind of thing. So this is the first time I'm going to go, and I'm more introverted for sure. So it's going to be a lot of people. And what's exciting also in the process is that we're starting to think about, like as a team, like signage, what do we want our booth to look like? So there's a whole new design component that has me sitting down today and looking at our resources. So and we can kind of go in, and I think I'm gonna just kind of start overall, like talking through the brand and my feelings about it. So I want to relate this to you and also how we do work here at Brand Better. So if you've ever been on a call with me, if you've ever heard me teach, I like to think about especially the visual branding as something that you're not going to need to redo for a decade at least, right? Maybe even like, let's say 5 to 10 years. So it is an investment working with developing your visual brand, but I will say that our visual brand that you see here, these are some of our brand assets. I'm going to go back to the homepage. Okay, so when I'm looking at just kind of holistically, like our brand and our brand visual assets, these kind of things, this was done in 2020. And I have to say that I'm still feeling like, so for me, as I'm thinking about moving into 2025, doing the sponsorship, I'm asking myself, like, do I still feel connected to the brand? Do I still feel connected to the color palette, the logo? I want to develop brands for other clients and including myself that now we're about to move into 2025, and I still feel very connected with the logo. For me, this logo has always represented, let's pull it up here. This logo for me is always represented like a feeling of organic creation, a kind of like shabby chic. It's messy, it's organic, but then when it's put together as a whole, there is a nice like sophistication to it. It's like a beautiful, like this for me has always been like a beautiful like woven basket, and it's how we weave everything together. For me, the symbology is like, it's like beautiful, it's like anthropology, right? It's like beautiful, bohemian, natural, but it's up leveled, right? It's like it has a feeling of sophistication to it. So I'm looking at our logo and I'm saying, okay, also, am I getting any feedback from, I regularly get feedback still, including in the last couple months, of prospective clients that are like, hey, I love your logo or I love your website. And so I'm looking to make sure that I'm getting feedback that our logo is not outdated, that it's that when clients are coming in for a sales call, that they're still referencing our brand as a benchmark for how they like their brand to look and feel. So when I hear that, I go, okay, cool. We don't have to rebrand. Like, and I like that because I love our brand. I still feel connected to it. And I think more also, not more than that, but also when I look at our colors, I feel like they don't feel outdated to me. And I think that gold, mustardy color, when I think about what our booth is going to look like when someone's walking down the aisles at A for M, I think that gold color is really going to stand out in the sea of, you know, lots of faces and lots of booths. And so I want to make sure we have a color that feels friendly and bright, but not too bright and in your face. So when I'm looking here and I'm saying, how would I rate our current brand overall? You know, I'll come back to that because that feels like overall. So I'm going to stay with the logo and I'm going to put it at, I'm feeling like it's an 8 or 9 right now. I wouldn't say 10 because I've been with this logo now for almost 5 years. And so as a design person, I can see some things that I would change. But I feel like overall, I don't feel like it's necessary to do a visual rebranding. When I look across our channels, when I look at, this is our link tree. It's not actually a link tree, but it's like what you would go to from our social media. When I look at our social media, I'm happy with the colors. When I go over to like our kind of link tree, our link guide, I feel really good about how the colors are applied. I feel really good about the backgrounds of this gold color. So I would love you to kind of go through and just assess, like step 1 really is like going through and assessing like the visual side of your brand, right? Do you feel like, does anything feel outdated? The only thing that I'm going to mark down in my visual side is my photo shoot, which is now about 4 years old. And I'm looking and I'm saying, I feel like it still looks like me. Like, I feel like when I get on sales calls, I don't feel like these pictures are so different. I feel like, my hair is a little blonder. But these are also old pictures at this point. So, I come over here and definitely looking more blonde here than that photo shoot, but I still feel like it's easy to see that that's me, right? I still like these pictures, but if I'm going to mark something down, maybe 2025 will be a year of a new photo shoot just to get some new pictures in. All right, moving on here. So I went kind of through my visual. I'm going to say my color palette of the brand, I'm going to still mark that as a 10. I started out when it was just this light color and this background. As it took kind of within the first year of this branding, I decided to redo from this lighter color to a slightly darker teal, which made everything pop more and gave me more kind of play with the background here. As we grew over the years, I added some more colors. So this brown came in. You can actually see that the most. I just really wanted this for social media. So this color, this color, this color. They're all new. I'm feeling really good about the way that the colors look, and I like how our client portfolio sort of pops within. You can see them kind of popping in the colors. So I'm going to stay with that as a 10. Then we kind of move on to website. I did this the other day, so I'm not going to do this live. I actually went through every page of my website and I just reread the copy. So, getting to the home page, I just want to make sure that this is still a message that I'm lined up with and it's still a message that I'm excited about. So I haven't redone the copy for 3 or 4 years on this website, besides little tweaks here and there, kind of move things around. But I want to make sure that branding can help you communicate your brand identity with precision, power, and style. I want to make sure that your one-stop shop for building a wellness brand. Does it still feel true? Does it still feel accurate? Does it still feel like it's resonating with my ideal client? Because as we grow as business owners and as we work with a lot of people, what we get is really cool data around the type of person that we want to work with. So these things aren't just set and forget. I want to make sure that you're regularly going back and being like, okay, we're an award-winning social media marketing and podcasting agency. I'm going to change that. Why? Because I'm in a season of branding right now. So we do a lot of things at Brand Better. For the last year, I've been focusing more on building out our social media marketing and podcasting agency, but I'm in a season where Q4 into Q1 is where a lot of clients hire us for website design, visual branding, their copywriting. So it's our brand cohesion package. So I want to make sure that says this, because I'm leading with social media and podcasting, but it's not the number one thing I'm trying to sell right now. So to make sure that I go through, I've identified for myself in a separate sheet some of the things I want to change. I'd like to update some of our clients that have come in. This is a few years old. And here I've got social media marketing and podcast production, brand strategy. Yes, that fits, but I'd like to change these with something that I'm looking forward to selling more of over these next 2 quarters. So I go through, I read everything. I want to make sure that I go through our kind of booking process. I want to make sure that links are still working. That's really important when you get over to social media and we get to, open up, this is the links from social media. So this is what I want to go through, all these links. And A, make sure that they all work. And B, make sure that they're leading people to what I want to be selling the most right now. This is not. Because I go from social media and the first thing I see is Instagram, and then I'm going podcast. Even my masterclasses are a podcast related masterclass. So I want to make sure that I go through and switch out these buttons this week so that they're more focused on, say, the brand planner toolkit, our masterclasses that are more branding related. So I want to make sure to do that. So for me, kind of the biggest the architecture, it would be our visual brand, going over to the website, making sure that the copy still reads and that it feels aligned to the person that I want it to talk to. Going through all the pages, clicking on buttons, making sure that everything, like our book call, I want to make sure that I've got social media and podcast is number one. I'm going to move those and click on the link, make sure that this works so that when somebody books a call with me, that is all working. I want to go through and assess social media. I did not, that's if I'm going down here. Website, I'm going to put it at an 8 because there's a couple things that I need to change on there. But I think in general, it feels really good. Social media presence, I'm going to give myself actually a 6. I like the way that the feed looks when I get here. I want to look into, some things that I'm on my list are to change out the highlights here because these are kind of old. Look up and see the pinned post, right? I've got a podcast thing here that doesn't necessarily need to be here at the top. I want to swap out these pinned posts for the season. Probably get a couple new covers on here. And I haven't been posting very often because this was like a summer of just kind of playing a little bit more. So I'm buckling down and getting back into regularly posting. But in general, I'm happy with the look and feel. There's just a few things that I need to swap out here. So the next thing I like to do when I'm doing a brand audit is just make a list of all of the different assets that I have to work with. So when I say assets, that means like different lead magnets I've created, like this brand planner toolkit, master classes, just podcast episodes, anything kind of in my arsenal that I can use to help edify the message. So if I know I'm moving into a season where I'm talking a lot about branding, I want to kind of go back to the basics around branding, right? So like, for example, how do you do a brand audit? How do you take the time to look through your brand and figure out what you need to do, create like an action plan of what you need to do next, right? And so I want to look and see like, what are the programs I have? What are some like low ticket items? What are my free resources? And make an assessment of, do they still work in kind of the avatar that I want to connect with? And is there anything that I need to create? Am I missing? So I've got a quiz, I've got a couple of lead magnets, I've got some master classes, I've got some podcast episodes. Not that you have to have all of those, but that's just what I have available in my arsenal. I have a book, an ebook. And so is there anything that needs to be created? Is there anything that needs to be scrapped? Is there anything that needs to be edited? So I go through those kind of one by one and just see like, it takes a little while to do that, but just make sure that it still feels on brand because you don't have to keep reinventing the wheel. If you have a lead magnet, like this brand planner toolkit, I've been using this for 4 years and people still join my mailing list every day to grab this. And it's not running from an ad, it's just on our social media and it's one of the first things that people sign up for. So I'm not going to do a lot to it. I'm here, I opened it up today to go through to use it. I'm going to go through, I'm going to make sure if there's any links, make sure that they're still working. But in general, this feels still really good to me. It feels lined up with my messaging. So I want you to go through your lead magnets. I want you to like even check out the email sequences that are going out when somebody joins your mailing list and see if those need to be updated. That's something that I need to do because when someone books a call with me, those are some old emails. They're probably about 3 or 4 years old. So I want to make sure, like, do I still line up with the welcome that people get when they book a sales call, right? Am I still positioning myself the way that I want to position myself? And then I think the last thing that I would add here is either if you have any programs that you're already running, just going through the materials of the programs, seeing if if you have some free time, is there anything you would add to it? Make sure that the look and the feel is awesome on the membership site. And then the other part is if you're running any ads. So I'm in a season of, I haven't been running ads for a long time, but I just restarted for Q4, running some ads. And I took the time to go through and just read all the messaging, make sure that that lines up, make sure the creative lines up, and make a couple notes of some things that I'd like to change. So that kind of takes me through our entire, like at a glance, that is, of all the different parts of the business. We've got like the visual branding, we've got the copywriting, which is the messaging across all channels. We have our social media, of which I really just focus on Instagram. I do have a YouTube channel, which could use a little TLC right now because it hasn't really been very much taken care of in the last few years, as I've been focusing more on Instagram. And we have a podcast. So I'm going to go into the podcast data, just make an assessment of like over the last year, what have been some of our more popular episodes and which ones kind of fell flat. And from this, as I'm going through, right, I've looked at the website, I've looked at the visual branding, I've read my messaging, I've looked at different assets that I have to promote the business, like podcast episodes, lead magnets, etc. Social media, gone over to social media and assessed their mailing lists, looking over like the emails that have gone out over the last year and just see, what's working, what's not, what are my best open rates, click-through rates, etc. And once I've gone through there, then I can take that here into the brand planner. I can add in some, notes for myself. And from there, that's when I create my action plan. And my action plan will be like, create new content ideas. Like I'm going to move from here because I want to look holistically and say, this is it. What's easy to do, at least for me, is create a lot of stuff. Like I like to create, and then I'll find myself forgetting that I even have it. Like, oh my God, I forgot I did a masterclass 2 years ago. And then I rewatch some of it and I'm like, oh, this is actually really good, but I haven't been promoting it for years, right? And so you probably have already like some stuff that you can go back into and repurpose and reuse. And even if you're re-recording, you might get re-inspired by a message that you were excited about 2 years ago that you haven't talked about in a while. For me, that's branding. I haven't talked about branding or building a personal brand in a while because I've been focusing more on social media and podcasting. And that was part of our marketing plan for this year and a little bit of last year too, as we were building out that side of the business. And now I'm circling back into, I want to get re-inspired, re-engaged with a branding message around building a cohesive brand, feeling really professional. So then I get to go back into things I've already created. And you can probably find this pattern in your own business too, of like things that you were, if it was a supplement, if it was a routine, a regimen, if it was something, an issue, a chronic issue, like there may have been things you were really like create a lot of content around and then just left it for a little bit. So I want to invite you to go back and just pull out some of that old content, see what's still usable. I'm sure a lot of it is probably still usable. Maybe it needs a little makeover with some visual branding, things like that. But I'm sure that the core of the message is really good. So that's kind of a little bit under 25 minutes. I've gone through everything, well, at least talked you through going through everything. Obviously, it will take me a little bit more time to actually find these assets, read through them. But, if it takes me, maybe it takes me 2 hours to go through everything and come out with a kind of general plan for the rest of Q4 and into Q1. What I want to focus on, some things I need to create, some places where I need to make some updates, and what kind of content that I'm excited to share that lines up with my avatar and with my business goals for the rest of this year, and then start strong in 2025. So I hope this helped. I want to try to do more kind of behind the scenes. So let me know any feedback about things you'd like to see as a fellow business owner, and have a great day. Bye now.